One of the most basic life principles is that you reap what you sow. Now, of course, there are many things that can happen in life that are outside of your control. But in general, you reap what you sow. And in general, if you sow good money habits, you will reap financial wealth. There are 5 very good, basic, easy to follow money habits. I learned these money habits from the financial advisor Dave Ramsey, and I encourage everyone to visit his website at daveramsey.com. And if you maintain these 5 money habits over a long period of time, then you will build financial wealth in your life. I'm so very passionate about sharing these 5 habits with as many people as possible, because a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Habits get passed down from one generation to the next. And so if we teach people how to maintain good money habits, they will pass down those habits to their kids, and their kids will pass down those habits to their kids, and it will create a cycle of blessings, generational blessings, and it will positively change the world. So please grab a pen and a piece of paper, and please take notes as I share with you 5 money habits that build financial wealth. Habit number 1, write a plan. It's very important to have a written plan regarding how you expect to spend your money. Every month, before the month begins, make sure you write out a budget regarding all of your expected expenses. Set clear, very clear goals regarding the spending limits of every expense category, and make sure that you write it all down on paper. That's very important, because if your plan is just in your mind, it's vague. But if it's written down on paper, then it becomes much more clear and concise. And make sure that you keep track of everything that you spend money on, so that you can compare your actual spending with your plan. And that's very important. And you see, unless you are keeping track of how much you're spending, I can imagine that you have no idea how much you're spending. For example, think about this. Do you know how much you are spending every month on things like groceries, gas, restaurants, coffee shops, bookstores? Unless you are keeping track and calculating totals, you probably have no idea. Moreover, unless you are establishing goals regarding the spending limitations of these different expense categories, unless you're doing that, you probably are not being as effective as you could be with handling the management of your money. So please, starting right now, please keep track of everything that you spend money on. And from there, create goals regarding the spending limits of every single expense category. And make sure that you write it all down on paper. That's very important. Write a plan, a written plan. Habit number 2, spend less than you earn. It's very unfortunate that there are many people who are spending money that they don't have in order to buy things that they don't need. That's very sad. And please avoid that temptation. Let me ask you this question. As you think about your life, what are your needs and what are your wants? Because really, if you think about it, there's a difference between our needs and our wants. Make sure that you always take care of your needs, but delay your wants until you can actually afford them. Spend less than you earn. Habit number 3, get out of debt and stay out of debt. Debt enslaves people. When people go into debt, they lose a portion of their freedom. Now, it's one thing to borrow money to buy a house, but it's another thing to take on financial obligations that you can't keep. And that is why it is very important to stay away from credit cards. Use debit cards or cash instead. You see, when you use a debit card or cash to pay for something, you guard yourself against falling into the trap of debt. Credit cards are so very dangerous. In fact, research studies have even proven that in general, when people use credit cards, they end up spending a lot more money than they do when they use cash. It's amazing. It's amazing how much more people spend when using credit cards than when using cash. So please, please stay away from credit cards. You see, a lot of retail stores will offer you discounts in order to entice you to open up a credit card account, because they know that if you open up a credit card account, you put yourself in a position to overspend. You put yourself in a position to spend money that you don't have in order to buy things that you don't need. So please stay away from credit cards. Avoid that temptation. Don't fall for that trap. Get out of debt and stay out of debt. Habit number 4, save and invest. Before spending money on your wants, make sure that you have gotten out of debt and have established an emergency fund of at least 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. That's very important. Very important, because emergencies will happen and you need to be prepared for them. Because otherwise, you put yourself at a risk of falling into the trap of debt. So first save up to have a $1,000 emergency fund. And then save up to pay off any debts you may have. And then save up to increase your emergency fund to be at least 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. And then start investing in mutual funds. There are many mutual funds that have an average annual rate of return of around 12% over the long term. And so even if you just invest just $100 per month over the long term, like 40 years, that one account can easily grow to be more than $1 million. It's amazing. It's amazing. The power of compounding interest is amazing. Compounding interest is how you can get your money to make money for you. Save and invest. Habit number 5, give. The gift of giving is better than a gift received. When you give, you confirm to yourself that you have more than enough. And it's that sense of abundance that increases your level of gratitude and your level of confidence, and it puts you in a position to receive even more success. So give. Be generous. Live with your hands open. Because you see, if you hold money with a clenched fist, although you are preventing money from going out, you also are preventing even more money from coming in. So keep your hands open. Keep your hands open. Now, of course, be smart about it. Be responsible. Don't allow people to abuse your kindness. But at the same time, always be generous. You see, in the long run, the only people who really prosper are those who are generous. So be generous. The gift of giving is better than a gift received. And the secret to living is giving. So, there they are. 5 habits that build financial wealth. Please apply these habits to your life. Please maintain them. And please share them with as many people as you can. Because together, we will change the world.